What do you want to be when you grow up is a horrible question. I mean that literally, and it's also the title of one of my recent blog posts. What do you want to be with you when you grow up is a horrible question. I published that today, October 21st, 2021. In this video, I actually wanted to make connections between some of the suggestions that I give in this post and some practices that I've talked about in previous blog posts. So specifically, my point in this particular blog post is that we shouldn't ask people what they want to do when they grow up or what do you want to do for the rest of your life. I find that creating meaning in our work life doesn't come from a job title. It comes from an introspection and then just iterative design, trying stuff, failing, realizing you don't like it, trying something else. And so in this post, I spent a lot of time kind of posing some questions to get your creative juices flowing. For example, one of my favorite questions that I ask myself almost every day is, fast forward to the end of your life. Imagine you are dead and your survivors are going to put a gravestone next to your remains. Now imagine that they are allowed no more than 3 words on that gravestone. These words will represent the parts of your life you want to be remembered for and the parts of your identity that you cared most about. What will those words be? Why do you choose those words and not other ones? Full disclosure, my answer to that question is family, health, and students. I want to spend a lot of time with my family. I want to be there for my sons. I want to be a great husband for my wife. I want to make sure that I'm healthy, that my body, my mind, my soul are resonating deeply with health and care and love so that I can really bring my presence and my power to those in my communities and support them. And then students. I think about our entire world as built on how people learn. And I like to say that my students are the hope for the future. Literally, I get to work with the future leaders of society every day of my life. And so I like to say that if I can pour my being and soul into empowering those students to envision a better world and to create skills where they can bring their vision for that world into reality, then that is my gift to the world around me. So my answer is family, health, and students. And then I spend all of my time figuring out how to build a work life that allows me to dedicate my life to that. So what I wanted to talk about in this particular video was to make a connection between the idea of career planning and then the idea of horizons of focus. So you all might remember from a previous post that I wrote, this one was called Write Down Your Goals Continued, and it was all about horizons of focus. So we talked about ground level, which was calendar events, immediate goals, short-term projects, midterm projects, top-term projects, values, and life purpose. I like to think that the entire purpose of my work life is to align what I do to make money with my vision and values and purpose for both my personal and professional life. And then the jobs that I do kind of allow me to build projects towards that larger vision. And what I wanted to show you today was how I actually realized this with my planning documents. So I always like to think about planning documents as kind of useful for managing the way that I deal with the world. So I keep, years ago, this is a practice, every January 1st, I update my value statement. I have 2 of these. I have one for my professional life and one for my personal life. So right around the start of the year, I always update this and change it. I try to center values that are what I call like action-based. So my values are family, health, and students. This one's kind of interesting because I don't write it about students, and I have some reasons why I do that. But family is something that I can spend time doing. Health is something that I can spend time doing. Student, I can spend time dedicated to students. So the moment that I have those written, I look at this everywhere I bring my calendar. I have this with me. And then, I also have a copy of that Horizons of Focus thing so that I kind of remember how this works. So in the Horizons of Focus, when I think about my day-to-day activities, these are calendar activities. So I have my calendar where I write down stuff that's happening in my life. I also have the calendar printed out from the school. So that allows me to kind of manage my day-to-day life. And then above and beyond that, I have kind of an overview of some of the professional stuff that happens each year that I'm interested in attending. So that allows me to kind of plan out my calendar and think about which of these will align with my vision for the world. And then what's really cool, I like this a lot. I have a bunch of projects that I think are going to, over the next decade or 2 decades, 20 years, that I think are going to move me closer to being more effective in empowering students and people in my community to create a new vision for the world. I'm not ready to act on all of those, but don't want to lose them. So I keep this in my Someday Maybe project. This comes from David Allen, and they're little Post-it notes. And then what I do is I actually map out my year. So year 9 of my career, these are some things that I need to pay attention to. So I have some, I'm working on videos right now. I've got some math contents I want to make. I've got an NSF grant coming up. I got spring cycle. Then I go to year 10, year 11, year 12, 13, 14. And in fact, you don't know this, but right down here on my desk, I have the next 40 years of my career planned out. And then what I can do is over time, I can think about projects that I'm working on and then map those to years, always mapping back to that vision statement that I have for my career, so that I'm managing my workflow always to come back to major projects that align with my values, purpose, and vision for the life that I do. Right now, I'm very privileged and lucky that I have a full-time job as a teacher because it allows me to work on projects over long periods of time. But I started doing this work before I had my full-time job, and I would find opportunities, paid job opportunities that would line up so that I could get the teaching job so that I could do this. So it doesn't necessarily require that you stay in the same work. The idea is to make a connection between the day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year work that you're doing and that larger vision, right? So that you're planning your work to build skills that help you be more effective towards that vision. So I'm going to stop there. I wanted to share those skills with you. I'll have more posts on this and I'll have more ideas to kind of inspire. Again, I always like to say, what matters most is not what I say, it's what you do. What this is designed to do is to save you time in thinking about what skills you want to develop and how you might leverage those skills to build that career that you love. Thanks so much for your attention, y'all. I'll see you in the next post.